All right, Mr. Dimes, welcome to the Paranormies, sir.
I know if we're supposed to say this, but we kind of started and had a false start there, but I will repeat myself because I am still extremely geeked and excited to be here, and this is one of my absolute favorite shows, and I'm just very happy to be here. You got no idea.
Awesome. I really appreciate that. We'll just let everybody know that you listen to us at the gym. We don't have to do the whole story all over again.
Let me rewind the script here.
Yeah, no, I hate when that happens, dude. I was like, we started, and I swear to God, I pushed the button, but apparently I didn't push the button. It's okay. It was only a minute and a half, so you didn't lose much. It was just really like Dimes telling everybody how much he loves the Paranormies, which is cool. Because, like you said, as podcast race, a lot of people listen to a lot of stuff, but I don't listen to a lot. Your podcast is one that I do put in the rotation. That is for sure.
And we were talking about food posting because we're active in a couple chats.
Absolutely.
And you're one of the few guys who's out there posting real good dinners. And that's not appreciated enough in our scene. And I judge a man by like what he's grilling and what he's posting about grilling.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, and I do it the old-fashioned way, man. I tend my own fire. I have an offset smoker that I cut my own wood and dry my own wood and burn my own wood. Yeah,
that's what I want. That is the dream. I don't have that right now. We're just in this little townhouse here, and the type of smoker I want would take up half of this poor excuse for a backyard we've got, and then it would just be I would get kicked out of this place. There'd be so much smoke, right? But that's the dream, and doing it properly with the cutting of the wood and all that shit. And my wife, bless her soul, she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. She's like, just get the wood pellets. I say, listen, bitch, you come at me with that again. I'm telling tales out of school here, but let's just say it didn't go very well for her.
You are still here.
A wood pellet talk.
Dude, the wood pellet. Okay, so my deal with the pellet grills is like, yes, your brisket is amazing, but you did use the Easy Bake Oven to do it. And yes, I'm glad you have the app on your phone that controls all that stuff, but you didn't cook anything there, pal.
Also, yeah, every time I go to a smoker, it's got front and center. It's telling me that I can control it from my phone. I don't know who that's for.
Yeah, I honestly don't. It's for the guy who wants to go watch like Marvel Comics Universe movies while he's smoking a brisket and stopping to pick up Funko Pops on the way home or something. Because well, they might stop and throw axes too, right? Because that's the new cool manly thing to do.
It's funny that I lived in Toronto, Canada, for quite some time, and one of the bigger urban centers in North America. And that's where all that hipster shit starts coming from. And I knew when axe throwing was becoming big and you're paying a premium to like just throw hatchets into a board.
ATFO.
Yeah, well, I started thinking, I'm like, man, if I just had some property, I could just do this. But here you got to like sign a waiver and then pay an hourly fee to like literally just throw cheap hatchets at wood.
Mm-hmm. There is, where I am working now, there is a strip mall that is like the new hipster strip mall. They have the cool barber shop. They have the axe throwing place. Then they have the cider brewing company, and what's the other one? It's like a indoor rock climbing thing. It's like all this really, I don't know. It's all very prepackaged and fake looking. Looks like it belongs in like a GQ magazine or something. Like a men's health.
Do you see the word bespoke a lot when you're walking through that?
Yes. I drive by. It's bespoke. Yes. Yeah. I hate.
That's just the new farm to table.
Yeah, like farm to table. Like that's one of those things like, AAA Wagyu beef. I'm like, I know someone's lying. I know this isn't what you want me to think it is.
Sure. But here's the thing about farm to table. Where else does it go?
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's like such, air into your lungs, an oxygen company. What? Like,
that's what they got, that nifty little hyphen in between there, so they don't have to explain the in between.
Right.
No, we show that to the wrong type of person. They'll be telling you stories about, well, actually, most of the food you grow goes in the fucking ditch. And there's probably some kind of weird agro business thing where actually half of America's food goes in the ocean. Probably. You wouldn't surprise me.
None of that surprises me. After what I saw during COVID, thank you, Ice Age Farmer, by the way, wish he'd come back. But he did do the Chicken Little thing a little too hard. I think he got with that, so he had to save face and go away. Because the world is supposedly supposed to be over, according to him.
Yeah, and the problem, we don't need to. We could spend a lot of time on COVID too, but we talked about this on the show where I'm like, our side, the let's say the conspiracy side, we were more right than everybody, but we weren't 100% correct about things. And I think where we went wrong is where we overshot the predictions, and we didn't need to. We didn't need to say billions are going to die. Like
Right.
all we needed to say was the truth, which was it's untested. There's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to die, but once you start giving hard numbers, that's just a trap door you're making for yourself. We don't need to.
No, and look yesterday. I mean, it doesn't matter, how many, the whole millions must die. 2 more weeks, conspiracy hard. You know how many times I've heard that? But LeBron James' kid, just 18-year-old kids, the famous 18-year-old kids falling down having cardiac arrest. The Merck, I don't know, it was Merck. There was a report came out, and it was thousands of vaccine injuries, and these are from Pfizer themselves. Yeah, we didn't have to make the predictions overall. Like the royal we, as far as conspiracy guys. No, because honestly, I'm not backing down from this. But the Paranormies, we were pretty on the nose from the beginning as far as calling how it went and how it was going to go down. I don't recall ever saying millions were going to die, but we did say we had no idea what was going to happen. And we still don't. We still don't know what's going to happen with that vaccine. Even if, who's to say that they didn't do multiple batches of all kinds of things? They could have beta tested 800 different vaccines, and just told you it was a Pfizer vaccine. Told you it was the mRNA. Yeah,
and one thing that has troubled me, it's that on our side of things, let's call it, the conspiracy right, whatever you want to call it. I'm afraid that this narrative that we've been carrying on for years is just at this point going to be taken by the mainstream. Like you see, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., like mainstream people basically admitting that everything that we admit we're saying about the lockdowns, about the COVID vaccine untestedness. So we're kind of losing that narrative. It really fell into our lap. Everyone called us crazy. Now a new generation of people are they're kind of taking that from us and pretending that it was theirs the whole time. And that bothers me. Because for the long time we could say, look, I think, I don't, not to get in all kinds of internet drama, telegram drama, but you get called a schizo enough. I'm like, well, the schizos, again, were more correct. But, the people are just going to, our words end up coming out of Charlie Kirk's mouth eventually. And I'm not prepared for that. We didn't have a contingency plan for when our correctness just kind of gets parroted, and we're robbed of that credibility, which I find, troubling.
Yeah, I can see. Well, they jumped on it now that it's over and safe to talk about, right? Because at the beginning, the only people who were really correct that were publicly speaking about it were like us, Ramsey Paul, Anglin, Lauren Witzke. That's not company you want to be you want to be associated with normally, right? I mean, all of them.
Yeah, and then regular people you would lose family members over this. Like a lot of people forget how up in arms and frothing at the mouth individuals were during the peak of this thing. If you were to imply that it's just a flu or something like that, you could lose your job. There was real dire social consequences. So anyone who did speak up, unless they kind of had enough capital on their side to weather that storm, if you're just a regular person, you're putting a lot on the line for that.
Yeah, man. People lost family members. Divorces happened. Kids don't speak to their parents anymore. People have died without saying goodbye. It's crazy how this thing just divided so many people. And whether or not we were completely right about everything, what personally I know I was right about was watching this thing unfold from the beginning. And we called it the next 9/11, but bigger. Which is what it was. I mean, there was a huge, big scary thing, right? The big virus, big scary thing, big, terrorism act, scary thing, virus, and then a huge transfer of money, just like every other time, trillions of dollars, trillions must transfer.
And again, I think on some level, people are starting to understand that. I started noticing that they were accepting the lab leak theory, which again, you could lose your job at one point for implying that. But that's almost the least interesting part of this. The real conspiracy, like you had said, is kind of the government overreach, but it's also the wealth transfer, but it's also all this other stuff that's going on. And you can kind of just, like you said, point to the Patriot Act. This is that. And you hate that. So you should also hate this. Why is this so hard?
Yeah. It's crazy. They have this legislation printed up, ready to go, and I'm talking like legislation doesn't just happen. I don't know if these people know this. Like legislation isn't an email or a text. You know what I mean? Legislation is. What was the one that Pelosi said that we have to? I know you're Canadian, so you don't care enough probably to know this.
Oh, no, our entire lives are American politics up here.
Oh, okay. So, good. So you'll know more about this than me. The bill is like, we have to sign it before we can read it. Was it like 800 pages or something like that? You remember
that? Like things that probably make sense to them, but because they've been in that sort of strata for so long, like that comment would make sense to, who's that guy who just, his brain broke on TV?
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, Mitch, like to a guy like that who's so far like filled to the brims with coke and just coke and these people run on cocaine and gay sex. And to them, a comment like that makes sense. Like you're such a bureaucrat, you forget that you're talking to real people.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's like, or are they even real people? These people, you know what I mean?
I remember the funniest thing. This is a throwback, but I remember it was Barack Obama. I forget he's passing some type of bill. It was some type of green energy bill. And then people were upset about it. And he had said, you guys are going to have to point to me and hear which part you don't like. It's like, well, have you read it? Have you read the thing that you're talking about? Because he's just like, I don't know. Like, he had the air of like, I don't know what this is. Tell me what I shouldn't like about it.
Right.
And that kind of clicked for people like, oh, you don't know what it is you're signing. Anyway, I'm going to get down to like an Obama thing too. Okay. We better keep this into a Paranormies.
Let's keep it into a Paranormies thing because we could easily go into politics and that's not the show.
He is Michelle Obama. How about that?
Well, we just did this on the Nationalist Enquirer this week, but their chef drowned. Right. Which is not surprising. He was black, but like there's the video of him swimming. Not very well, but he's swimming. And the Clintons ex chef died as well, drowned.
Well, the Clintons is another one of those things like COVID where you're seen as kooky for bringing it up. And it's like, oh, her emails. But I'm like, no, have you actually looked at the stuff she's accused of? Have you looked at the evidence? Like, same thing with that Comet Pizza stuff or like the John Podesta stuff. Like, okay, there was like, oh, the guy went to Comet Pizza and there's nothing there. But I'm like, no, but did you read the emails? Did you actually look at the stuff? And a lot of people don't actually look at the source material because anyone who does says, okay, that's kind of fucked up. And why would someone say that? So it's just people like it's almost like a cognito hazard for them. You can't touch it. And COVID is another cognito hazard where people they need to X that out of their memory. And now you're an asshole if you bring it up. You're ruining the party. And I don't know what to do about that. Yeah, people don't want to talk about it. Yesterday, speaking of COVID and stuff, I went to the deli to get some roast beef for my sandwiches for lunch. And the guy was talking through a mask. And it's bad enough that he's probably Armenian or Iranian or something. I can't understand him as it is. But he's wearing a mask. And the guy behind him, I was like, can you tell me what he's saying? Because he's wearing a mask and I can't fucking understand him. Yeah, you still see people like that. And the guy behind him was like, the guy was like, yeah, he's like, the guy went back. He's like that. And I was like, dude, I'm so sick and tired of his masks. He's like, yeah, me too. And like for half a second, I thought I got somebody to engage. I was wrong. He was like, yeah, he's like, but you know what? I like to let everybody do what they want to do, and it doesn't bother me. I'm going to go back to work and shut up now. Basically, that's what he did. Yeah, I'm not that type of guy who has an opinion about things. Right. That's what people like. I don't know. Maybe I'm too hostile to centrists, but the idea that you're like, well, I like Bill Burr would always do this. The comedian is like, what do I know? Why am I having an opinion? I'm like right. The lack of confidence as a man to just say, oh, who cares? Who cares about anything? I'm like, well, you're allowed to have an opinion on things. That's the thing is we haven't been allowed to have an opinion for so long. Dude, we can do a whole men's rights stuff if you want to. No, we're doing Paranormies. So the Clintons whacked people. Their chef died. The Obama's chef drowned. Which
why the chefs? Why chefs?
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about chefs. It's a bad time to be a chef for. I guess the Biden chef doesn't. Don't quit, dude.
They're trusted with cooking human meat, so they got to go.
You know what? I'm going with that. I like that.
No, I can't not because I don't know enough. But Dimes, like you were saying about
the dark here.
Well, that's fine though. We do that occasionally around here. You were talking about the Pizzagate and the Podesta and the Comet Ping Pong Pizza stuff. I was talking to somebody about that about 2 days ago, and even if you don't get like all deep conspiratorial, where you want to talk about the heavy breathing musical act, and you want to talk about James Oliphant's name phonetically in French is "I love children," and like those guys, Jamais l'enfant is like, whoa, it means his name literally means "I love children" in French.
Yeah.
It's weird. But even if you don't approach people with that stuff, like, even if you don't try to weird them out, and you're just like, well, what do you think about that? They don't care. They think you're stupid for even knowing about it.
Yeah, I always try and challenge, and I apply this to a lot of the things that we might believe in, going to the source of the issue. So I think a lot of people who are into the same stuff we're into are tempted to lead with the most exciting, juicy details, which will sound crazy to people. But sometimes you need to teach people how to think. You need to walk them through the logical process. So you can go to them and say, they probably heard about Comet Ping, but they know that there's a crazy conspiracy going around. So you got to break through that ice wall. So you would say, okay, you know the United States of America, the largest empire, the most wealthy, most well-connected empire, and the world has ever known. Would it stand to reason that somewhere in that bureaucracy, somewhere in that state machinery, there exists one or more fixers? Because America, and even if the politicians are fine, there's politicians and statesmen and power brokers in America that deal with people all over the world, Russians, Saudis, weird Japanese guys, African warlords. They're all coming and going. But would it make sense that there's certain people in the government who are tasked with making uncomfortably powerful men happy? And it's not that you don't like it, but when that sheik comes through, he's got to have a 14-year-old boy. And we need a guy who's in charge of making that guy happy because we need that oil deal. We need whatever the deal is to go through, and we must satisfy those insane, wretched appetites. Mm-hmm. Would it make sense that there's at least one person in the entire American state apparatus that is tasked with doing that sort of dirty work? Knowing what you do know about America, knowing about the CIA, knowing about everything. They'd say, yes, statistically, it's almost impossible that there's not. It's like, okay, so I've already gotten you through that wall of saying this not only is this possible, it's probable that something like this has happened. And they're dealing with the cartels, dealing with all kinds of, so you've got people on the same wavelength now. And then you can break down the details of Comet Ping Pong. You can talk about like the language that they're using. And it's difficult because a lot of this sort of thing, no one wants to look at it. No one wants to look at child sex trafficking. It's disgusting. I don't like having this knowledge. Regular people don't. And if you stare too long into that abyss, it stares back into you. So, it's difficult to, make people even, it's not that they don't care. It's that they almost can't care because that would mean a whole bunch of houses of cards are falling down.
Exactly. And it's something that nobody wants to look at. It's like when no normal person wants child drag shows. But when you talk about it to normal people, they don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. Just like this. Yeah. Everybody knows. If you go to Vegas, I've done this personally. We went to Vegas for my buddy's bachelor party when I was living in California, and we walked up. One of us we got a bottle service table and private, like whatever, because we're big ballers, right? Because he's getting married.
You got podcast money.
No, this is well before podcast money. This is just when I was Johnny Monoxide millionaire electrician. That was a meme for a while because when I working in San Francisco, we have the highest wage of all the IBEW locals. And
oh, nice.
Well, it's about to be in 2025. It's going to be like $101.50 an hour, right?
Holy shit!
But in order to take a call, you've got to be double vaxxed and boosted and can prove it and like all that. Yeah, you got to go through all kinds of like COVID hoops to even sign up to take a call to work there.
And guess what? Electricity is for fucking everybody.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, so we're in Vegas and we got this like $1,200 table or whatever it is. And I'm like, all right, watch this. So I get up and this is when I was still single, so I could get away with this. Walk up to the line of security guards and I said, which one of you guys is the girl guy? And this little nerdy dude with the bow tie said, that would be me. And I put $100 bill in his pocket and say, make that shit happen, Captain. And I turn around every 5 minutes. He's turning around with like 2 9s on each arm. Hey, Johnny, this is Tasha and Trina. They're from Colorado. Right? That's if you can do that in Vegas, if a dumbass like me for $100 can get like normal chicks brought to the table, so like we can, because every girl wants to sit in a VIP, right, in Vegas. Everybody does.
I can imagine myself doing that now, because I've gotten more retarded as I've gotten older. So I could imagine, maybe when I was in my 20s, I could do that. Now I'd go up to just the first Asian guy I saw. I said, "Are you the whore man?"
Right.
I need to find the whore man.
Right, but I was, I understand where you're coming from, but this was, I was trying to be like the cool dude, right? Yeah, I was trying to make an impression with my friends, but yeah, but if you can do that in Vegas for $100, imagine what a politician can do. If you can buy a politician for 10 grand, according to BlackRock, imagine what you can get for $1 million.
And no one likes politicians. No one believes in politics. Like, ask the biggest shit lib you know. So yeah, do you think the government's corrupt? Oh yeah, of course. Okay, so like you can untangle their prejudices and get them on the same wavelength of you. A lot of it, not to get too political, but a lot of the beliefs on our side of things is just that people have that prejudice. But if you kind of break down a couple of pegs, it's like they essentially believe a lot of the same things. They feel like they can because they've been told that you specifically are a gross person that not you specifically, but like us are like, oh, don't talk to them because they believe this other shit. Right.
Yeah, they have a different listen, freedom of speech as long as you agree with us.
Well, the funny thing is also there's certain everyone has got their favorite conspiracy theory. Like the biggest 9 times vaxxed guy that I know, my father-in-law, is like the biggest he will believe any moon hoax conspiracy theory you put past him. Like he's seen every moon landing documentary. He believes it all. He believes that there's like sand castles on the moon made by like everything.
Where's he at on JFK?
I don't know. I don't think
like that same era, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about. The JFK is almost too complicated. Like if you really get into JFK, it's really complicated. And I think it's just too complicated for a lot of these guys. They would rather kind of the whimsy of the moon landing because there's so much crazy stuff you can do with the moon landing.
Don't listen. Don't put the moon hoax down there, buddy. We do a lot of we make a lot of hay with that.
No, that's the thing, but like that's the thing that even no matter who you are, there's guys who are like, I hate conspiracy theories, but they're moon landing guys. Everyone's got their one thing.
Monsanto. That's another one you can get leftists with is a lot of that kind of stuff, like the corporate conspiracy stuff.
You just got to say the word too.
Yeah,
it's like a buzzword to them.
Oh, it's MK Ultra, 100%, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows MK Ultra,
which is it's such a top secret program that everybody knows about it. And why is it MK Ultra? Every other thing that the military does with the initials MK, it's like the Mark 114, the Mark 22, the Mark 17, the Mark 116. But this is the MK Ultra.
Yeah, they're not creative, and that's the problem. Right. We used to make cool names in this country. Or they got China making the names now, for Pete's sake.
Oh, it's terrible.
Or they went for like mundane on purpose to blend it in.
Possible.
Yeah, but MK, those two letters side by side already seem interesting and threatening. If I was picking some letters, it would be like SP. Yuck.
What about WK?
Oh, that is an all-time segue. If I've ever heard one.
There you go. Good job, Ethan.
I mean, it was an alley-oop.
If you were to just leave right now, dust your hands, and do the George Costanza out, that you paid your way.
There you go.
Yeah, so I had a topic I wanted to bring that I've never discussed before, never discussed on my show, never even discussed it really with anyone I know. And it's a topic that's very close to my heart. And this is the only show I could think of bringing it to. And it's...
I don't know if that's a compliment or... No, absolutely, it's a compliment.
Because it's something that's close to my heart as well. It's not going to be too paranormal. It might not be terribly interesting, but it is fun and something that I've got a personal stake in. It's about the musician Andrew WK. And Andrew WK, some people might know. I know Aether, you kind of know him from TV. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of TV appearances. Yeah. A lot of people will know him as a musician. He or a song like When It's Time to Party, We Will Party Hard. He's got a look, not the biggest, but when I was a teenager and he just came on the scene, he was massive. He was doing stadium tours and his songs were everywhere. And So I actually genuinely liked it, and I've seen him live a couple of times too. And so the sequence of events I'm going to lay out might sound a bit disjointed. It might be meandering. There might be people who know exactly what I'm going to talk about, who are going to get on my ass about I missed this or missed that. But this is a 15-year long rabbit hole that you can go down that I've been following over the years and checking in on. And I was reading about it to the hour leading up to this episode because this is an ongoing story. He's still around, and there's still weird. He's still coming out with albums, and there's still strange conspiracies about this individual named Andrew WK. So I'm going to try and give as holistic a story as I can and give some of the more recent stuff because it just never stops. The party never stops. Okay. And I want you to jump in, interrupt me, ask me other questions, or if this is getting too weird, let me know.
First, I remember Andrew WK from obviously Party Hard. Everybody knows that song. I figure that's got to probably be the break song this week.
Legitly do not.
What's that?
I legitly do not. But it might just be my age. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know that song?
Nah.
All right, well, that's the break song this week. So
yeah, I'll hear it anyways. So.
But he was. I remember seeing him. I don't remember too much because I was a little. Dimes, how old are you? If you don't mind aging yourself.
30. How old am I? I'm in my 30s, so that's. I always forget. 36, I think, this year.
Okay, so when you said you were a teenager when he hit the scene.
All right, so not too much different. Maybe I just didn't pay attention to this guy.
Yeah, so I was. Yeah, that's
I
another
remember
thing.
Cartoon Network.
I remember seeing him on what was that show on VH1? The I Love the 80s, I Love the 90s, those shows. He was on the I Love the 2000s series. And I just remember him being on. That's all I remember him from is just that and then the party rock song. And other than that, I have no idea about this guy. I just thought he was the guy, Andrew Federley Wilkes Creer?
Here we go. Is that really who he is?
That's the name they give on Wikipedia. So
that's the thing. Is there just one Andrew WK? And that's what we're going to get into now.
Okay.
But yeah, his albums. First album is I Get Wet. That was his big breakthrough. The second one's called The Wolf. Had a big single of that was called Never Let Down. People are looking to get into music. It's actually just good music. This most recent album I think is his best. It's called God Is Partying, and it's got a lot of really interesting songs on it. And he's kind of his origin musically was as this experimental noise artist, but he's a multi-instrumentalist. He plays all the instruments he's got a live band, but he plays all the instruments and writes all the songs himself.
Are we talking like Merzbow or something, or like
what's that?
Are we talking like Merzbow experimental noise, or
well, it's
like Japanese crazy guy? You know what I'm talking about?
Well, actually don't, but maybe. Just kind of like drum machine, weird screaming stuff.
All right, kind of, yeah. I mean, you can Google this guy and hate me later, but yeah, kind of like that.
It's hard to find his early stuff, but, I go deep and have a lot of his older, weirder stuff. Yeah, that's kind of the story of him. And he was pretty big, but then he fell off. He disappeared, and there's a few controversies along the way that I saw occur. But just to give people some lore, so according to his original bio, according to it, was Andrew was named after a drunk driver turned drugstore cowboy turned murderer named Andrew Stevenson, who started calling himself Andrew White, who then gave himself the alias the White Killer. So that's where the WK come from. Is that true? Who knows? And that's kind of the WK. Who knows? This is a common enough theme. So. Andrew WK, just before his third album came out, he had this website called AWK World, and he would interact with fans and answer questions. And this was before, I think before social media really took off. It might have been around when Facebook was popping off, but this is when artists just had their own website and web forums. And I was actually active on his web forum, and to this day, I think I'm the reason he closed down his web forum because I was trolling him too hard. I don't have any evidence of that, but it was me and 15 other people, and I was just fucking with him. And then just one day it disappeared. Anyway, so what happens is, he answers questions for people, and he's got his sort of motivational speaker platitudes, never let down, keep on keeping on. And one day he starts answering questions really strangely, starts talking about saying things like, this is how the formation begins, and then starts writing answers just in numerical code that no one can decipher. And very strange, slow to start. And then something happens where the website gets hacked, and Andrew WK gets kind of taken over by this entity called Steve Mike, STEEV Mike. And, his website gets hacked, and then an entire web of other websites emerges, up to 80 separate websites, things like violentlife.com and adultwomaninmirror.com, kind of creepy stuff. And I don't think I'm overplaying my hand when I say it's like David Lynchian. I know Aether, I think it was you said you like David Lynch as well. But really strange, dark stuff. And I'm going to give people a couple of links to look up here. So I know this isn't a visual medium right now, but if people want to look up what I'm talking about, most of these sites don't exist anymore, but there's a few screenshots and some records out there. One of the sites is A. Wilkes Crier, WILKESKRIER.homestead.com/index. Go there, and it's just this old HTML site that kind of turns into schizophrenic rambling midway through. But that's kind of the joy of all this. And it's a story of everything up until like a few years ago. But it's got screenshots of these like weird websites. And it was made by this entity, this individual named Steve Mike, who was accusing Andrew WK of being fake, of owing him money. He's got blackmail stuff on Andrew WK. Andrew WK isn't who he says he is. And he's got all these like weird, trippy fucking images, Photoshop stuff, all these strange references to how Andrew WK. Oh, well, this is what I'll go into now. So this is where the Andrew WK lore starts, that Andrew WK isn't a real person. The claim is that Andrew WK is the creation of a series of sort of individuals, of businessmen, and that there's not just one Andrew WK. There's a series of actors who play the character called Andrew WK, and every album has a different guy playing it. And his dad is supposed to be related to it, Andrew's father. And his dad, and this is where the conspiracy is interesting, and I'll say this at the top, that it will be easy for some people to say that, oh, this is like an alternate reality game. This is a LARP. This is just someone fucking around. But there's enough evidence in this thing, and there's enough occurrences and admissions by Andrew WK himself that it's impossible to tell what is fact and what is fiction. And by the end of this, I think I'm going to establish that it's actually both, and that it's this sort of meta reality within a meta reality. And it as weird as it's going to get weirder. Because at the start, it just sounds like a weird troll attempt. Like, okay, his dad actually does own the record label that Andrew WK was originally on, called Bulb Records. So it's like, oh, the claim is that his dad's involved in this sort of weird rock star experiment. The experiment was to create this new type of rock star that would represent energy and get people involved. It's a new type of rock star for the 2000s, because this is when he was starting to take off.
I like Jim Morrison.
Kind of, yeah. And here's the connective tissue, is that this isn't an altogether strange thing to happen. That there's been several proven conspiracies throughout the years of involvement of like the CIA and the hippie movement, of this rock star or that rock star being a fed or being planted somewhere. So the idea that something like this could happen isn't altogether strange.
Well, we did a whole series on Laurel Canyon. I mean, Laurel Canyon is where the hippie movement was created the entire 60s, and likely everything NASA produced after the 60s.
Yeah, the NASA angle to that is the wildest part. And really, we did like one episode on that. You probably did a better one, but you really come out of that understanding that Frank Zappa was cool. Like, Frank Zappa was the guy who was like, fuck all these hippies. Fuck all these gay hippies.
Right. Well, yeah, but he was part of the Laurel Canyon experiment too, though.
I know, but he always seemed to stand apart from that. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong. But
no, he definitely was different, for sure. However, again, he's got the connections. He's got both of his parents involved in, chemical warfare and psychological warfare. So,
yeah. And just to get back to the Andrew WK thing, that's a good point. Yes. And I can see that. One of the reasons that this theory kicked off was because there was one concert in New Jersey in around in the early 2000s where is Andrew WK concert where there's clearly a person other than Andrew WK on stage, and it became a big like, what the fuck is going on?
And what year was this?
When was it? It was in New Jersey. I think it was like 2002.
Okay, because supposedly I did a little bit. I lied. I said I didn't do any prep. I did minimal, but I did a little look. But the 2005 is supposedly when the switch.
That might be, yeah.
Is that what? Okay, because the guy.
That was the in-between year, if I remember.
Okay.
Between 2004 and 2006, 2005 was like his MIA year or something like that. And he came back.
Yeah.
He was supposed to release an album. He like came back and did the spoken word bit. But then he released that album like only in Japan and Korea, I believe it was. And
yeah,
I guess yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but
that is relevant. That weird Japan period where he stepped away from music for a while. But this is kind of what precipitated that, where he kind of left the scene after all this shit I'm talking about happens. He disappears, but this was one thing where everyone's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And what happened was people were asking questions on the website, and this woman named Christine Williams was answering them. And so, here's one of the questions that I would ask. I got it here. It's like, hey, a lot of people don't seem to think that was Andrew WK at the NJ show. I'm one of them. What's going on, Christine? And it was this woman who's supposedly answering questions on the site. And she gives like a weird answer. She's saying that to answer all your questions, there's been a lot of confusion regarding this New Jersey concert. People have been especially curious about where Andrew went after the show and whether or not it was in fact Andrew himself on stage. It was a spectacular concert. Everything went over very well, and the night was a success. Everything was taken care of smoothly. At this point, all we can do is look in the information we've been collecting and continue our research into the facts. And it goes into this like answer, non-answer. So people are like,
there was one where they were talking about how like, oh, Andrew wasn't moving properly tonight or something like that. We worked out some technical difficulties and you guys still enjoyed the show or something like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did they just have to like reprogram his legs?
I don't know. Yeah, it came off like that.
Some servos need to be adjusted.
Yeah, like shit like that. And it was like, what the fuck does that mean? And then people
these are like your PR team, right? Like,
yeah, and then people started noticing that he looks different from album to album, and they'll start comparing his press photos, and like the jawline looks different, or his tattoo placements on like these seem like different sorts of guys.
The difference between 2004 and 2006 Andrew WK is completely. I mean, there's the one. There's a website. Where is it? I was just looking at this. It's like a. Is there a conspiracy about Andrew WK? And at the bottom, it's like, no, hell no, stupid. It's one of those kind of websites. You're stupid if you believe that. But there was the pictures. They used a conspiracy theory guy's meme where it's got like old Andrew WK on one side and new Andrew WK on the other side. And these people actually look at this stuff and they go, it's the same guy. What is wrong with you? It's totally the same guy. They do it to us. Okay. Recently, they have clearly cloned Jamie Foxx, and the little skinny-headed dude that is out there now, that is not Jamie Foxx. Your head, I don't care what kind of aneurysm you have, your skull does not shrink. They
got some white guy to play Jamie Foxx from looking at his skin.
Yeah, exactly. They drag somebody through some sheetrock dust, as it turns brown when you get it on the floor, like that kind of stuff. He's not really black, he's not really white. It's just ashy. That's what it is, actually.
Yeah. And then but
what I'm saying is people come into our, we'll post on our channel. It's like, and just post a picture and be like, with the shrugging yellow guy, and people will be like, you guys are retarded. That is clearly the same person. I don't understand what's wrong with your eyes. And I'm like, nigga, if you don't see that is not the same person, I don't know what's wrong with you in general. It's not just your eyes, it's your whole brain. Something wrong with his medulla oblongata.
That's what the man that won over our hearts in Collateral.
Yeah. But he just did a movie called They Clone Tyrone. I mean, come on. They're not even trying anymore. They have the conspiracy theory cartoon on Netflix now. You have, Denver.
I saw they stole your name, right? They call themselves the Paranormies.
That was fucking Disney, bro. Disney.
And I was thinking about that, just to do a tangent there. I was thinking about that the other day because I saw your post, and I'm thinking, is normie a mainstream word? Because that seems like our thing. If it was like the Paranormals, maybe, but the Paranormies, I'm like, that seems like it would have to be taken from our side of the fence.
Paranormies,
that's not a coincidence.
It's not. As we say, there's no such thing as coincidences. There is an artificial there's a fake Paranormies on Instagram, and there is a fake Paranormies on YouTube, and they're Canadian, and they do gay things like lock arms and chug twisted teas on camera.
I thought they quit after I trolled them.
They didn't quit after you trolled them. You trolled them and asked them about tell Dimes what happened.
Oh yeah, I asked them how they got there. I played it off like I was one of their fans and asked them how they got their name, and they said a paranormal investigators.
Huh? A pair of no. I'm like, no,
no, you didn't. Okay,
that doesn't make sense. Like, I'm just trying to turn that over in my head. I'm like, that's a lie.
Yeah, this is big. Yeah,
oh, the guy's name's freaking Johnny too.
Yeah, and then the guy Johnny, right? It's like, come on, like obvious. That's the thing is like, I kind of get the nervous chuckle with the Disney stuff. I mean, they're going to send. So I've been eating a lot of apple seeds to build up my tolerance to cyanide. But
I'm just Joey Dioxide. What are you talking?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah,
I'm a new type of guy.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of guy. Looks just like the other guy though.
But I don't know what they do, but the idea, your description that they just link arms and drink twisted teas sounds like great content.
Well, they got busted. Okay, they do ghost hunting stuff, right? So they do like Zach Bagans type ghost hunting shit.
You mean they run around with a camera?
Yeah, they run around with a camera and like an EMF meter, whatever the hell they do.
And they go, "Did you feel that?"
Right,
chill.
Right. But they got busted for doing fake content, like doing fake ghost stuff. So
okay. Oh yeah, some other internet guy was like, "Hey, these guys are all fake."
Can I just say this? A tangent within a tangent. But I had a buddy in high school whose house was used for one of those ghost hunter shows. So I got a behind the scenes look of how they staged the shit. And it's just funny once you see, like, it's a big crew. It's not a small crew they used to get this shit, because you got it, like, the amount of lighting rigs they have to do to make these normal ass places look spooky, right, and all the fog machines and all that shit. And it was just, they turned this kind of nice looking house into like a blue filtered smoky sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know, you see like, oh, this is all obviously just bullshit,
right? Well, like with Zach Bagans and the other ones that are the famous ghost hunters, all they're doing is just advertising for the hotel so they can get some revenue. Really, it's just tourist type stuff. Honestly,
yeah,
because we've done this before. There's no ghosts. There's no ghosts.
I would never want to stay in a haunted hotel. I don't know what these people are. Yeah. I've learned one thing from films. It's that being haunted is bad.
Right.
I thought we were on the same page.
Right. But that's why, well, being American, you've seen that, or being, what is it, white people, like, white people will do this, but they don't eat gluten. I think it's one of those things.
I like that, and that's just like a yes me in response. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna climb Mount Everest to find a ghost. And I'm going to eat farm to table, by the way, actually.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, oh my goodness! Can you guys hear that? Apparently there is a toddler exploded in the other room. Holy cow!
Oh, I actually didn't hear anything.
Oh, good.
Is Aether gone?
Oh, good. No. That would be mine.
I've been
going to say on your end, or
no, I'm not. No, I have a 3-year-old who's having a meltdown right now. So.
Every single one of us has children, and at the same time, we just looked over our shoulder. Jesus Christ, no,
not now. Yes,
no, they need to know about Andrew WK.
Yes. So back to Andrew WK. So he's clearly, they've clearly got two different guys here, as far as I can tell.
At the very least two,
right.
And a lot of people have noticed that his voice changes from album to album. Like if you listen to Andrew WK on I Get Wet, he sounds markedly different than what you would hear on You're Not Alone or any of the later albums. So there's a lot to that. But this lore is kind of being fed to us by this hostile actor named Steve Mike, who is somehow involved in the creation of this puppet. And then some people are thinking, oh, again, this is a troll, but this is pretty much all confirmed by Andrew WK. So he leaves this one strange message on the site. He confirms this in many different times, and I'll get into those in a second, but he actually confirms it here in a very strange way. Just to give you the tone he's going for, he says, "Dear everyone," I'm just going to read it as is. It says, "Dear everyone, I had no idea what was waiting. I got back to my room. I noticed I had changed. Oh no. Already, I didn't like the sound of that. I immediately went and looked. Right away, I noticed that there was something messed up. I knew something was weird in the section. Right now, I've solidified. We are the company. This was its insides. That's the only way to the systems. However, there's a small part that thinks it could be someone undisclosed in privacy. I can't even imagine this, but I have. I'm just a witness. You shouldn't see any of this. I talk about blackmail. And it kind of goes on in these like strange conspiratorial attitudes, but he returns to these themes a lot, like I am the company or we are the company. And
he has song lyrics, I think. Like I said, like I don't know if I mentioned it before we were talking before the show or not, but I really haven't been hugely into him, but I've been reading a lot of the lyrics since I'm researching for this, and I think in some of his songs he directly mentions the company and all that.
Yep. I'm glad you know that because I know exactly the song you're talking about. I think I said we are the corporation, we are the company. I forget what song that was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I think it might have been from Mother. There's like this weird album he did. He's got 2 really weird albums. One is called Close Calls with Brick Walls. And if you listen to that, there's just like odd, like haunting, dark synth songs on there. And then this one called Mother of Mankind, which is sort of unreleased stuff. A lot of his earlier stuff, but like songs like I'm a Vagabond and we'll get into this.
55 Cadillac album was just like piano playing. That was weird. That's later, I guess.
Improvisational piano playing. And 55, this is just like a little bit of a tangent. 55 is the letter of the alphabet. That's E. So 55 is EE, which is Steve Mike. Like he has all these like hints all littered throughout his music about this sort of expanded universe. But he says here, he explains it a bit more in detail. He says, at the end of 2004, an old friend of mine got into some business trouble and basically decided to take it out on me. To cut a long story short, this person is someone I worked very closely with and had a formal and a family business relationship with. So you got a family connection there. Interesting. Due to various complaints this person had with me, they were able to turn my life and career upside down. I wasn't allowed to use my own name within certain areas of the U.S. entertainment industry. So this leads into his absence from music. He disappears for a while. And Aether, you had mentioned a couple times that he kind of disappears. He does these 2 Japanese albums. One's called Gundam Rock. It's just like his cover of Gundam songs. And there's a couple other ones there. But another one is 55 Cadillac, which is just improvisational piano experimental stuff that
seems really weird, not a character for him, right?
Yeah. The consensus on that album was, like I don't think anyone loves that album. It's just, hey, he did a thing. He's actually very good at piano. He's a very skilled piano player. So at least maybe that someone's into that. But he came out with that, and he also said at a live speaking event, there was a couple instances where he actually owned a venue in Toronto called Santo's Party House, which is pretty successful for a while. He does like normal things, like owns a venue for a while, and he would have these like conferences because around this time he got into speaking engagements. Like for some reason, he's like, I'm a motivational speaker now. And he would tour around the country. He'd go to like South by Southwest even and have these like rambling stream of consciousness, like experiential, just like sermons he would give about life and partying and positivity. And just people would you never know what you're going to get. It's just him rambling for a while and just switch gears away from music like for a long, long time. And at one of these, because this was like a known thing in the press. This was like, what the fuck's up with Andrew WK? What's this Steve Mike thing? This is weird. Where is he? None of this makes sense. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to do like a press conference. And he admits it again. He says, Andrew WK was created by a large group of people. They met and I was there and we talked about how we could come up with something that would move people. It was done in the spirit of commerce. It was done in the spirit of entertainment, which usually goes hand in hand with commerce. I was auditioned alongside many other people to fill the role of a great frontman. So as we're going, like it sounds crazy, but then like he's admitted many times that he is one of many. Where are the others? Or is it a metaphor for something? And then he'll sometimes say that it's actually me, like, and he'll get metaphysical with it. And you're thinking, okay, is this just some bullshit? But then you always return to, no, but there are admissions that there's some kind of like front man experiment going on. And then like, it has to be real, because why would someone walk away from their career for like 5 years? You know what I mean?
And
like
he turns around and basically like recants that after and talks about how like, oh, there's always this weird conspiracy that like people like Lady Gaga and Beyonce and companies like McDonald's and Coke are all part of some hidden agenda, and they're not. We're all just bringing light to the world.
Yeah,
after saying what you said, after literally saying what you said.
Yeah, right. he'll just kind of mess with people, but there's all these,
maybe not in the same thing, right? But like
but you're right. And actually, he would have come up around the same time as Lady Gaga, sort of in that milieu of like New York City, postmodern, strange, artsy,
early aughts.
Yeah, and like if you look at Andrew WK's image, it's really strange, and it's kind of jarring. Like the image he's known for is like him with like blood running down his nose, like staring dead-eyed at the camera. And then you're supposed to look at that and think, oh, he got punched in the nose or something. But actually what it is, and there's all this other imagery he uses with his like third eye illuminated, or he'll put a cut there. And then what it's actually supposed to represent is his mind melting out of his nose. Like he's a really trippy guy who's got this image of just being like a frat guy. But if you kind of peel back the surface, it's extremely esoteric. And if you go through these, like I mentioned, that multitude of websites during the Steve Mike hacking, there's all these references to like esoteric imagery and also like Sierra Mist for some reason. There's just weird shit in there. Like Sierra Mist is like the soda is like a big prominent thing. And it plays with theories that Dave Grohl was involved in Andrew WK's creation.
I've heard that Dave Grohl like either masterminded this whole thing or was like part of masterminding the whole thing.
And this is the thing, you hear that, and that's like that sounds like a funny made up thing. And then here's a photo of them like before Andrew WK was like they know each other. Like, okay, what the fuck is this then?
Right.
Like, he's not involved in some respect.
Well, that's the thing with Dave Grohl in general. I mean, like, you know, he played Satan in the Pick of Destiny, right?
Yeah.
And then did the album where was it the death metal album or whatever? And then his bass player or drummer died.
Yeah,
people in his band seem to die.
Yeah. So,
and just to give you, like, this is still ongoing, like I'd said, and one site I discovered just before we went live. People can go to it. It's stevemike.party, STEEV Mike.party. And it's, again, just all this extra shit. And there's a connection made early on about, I just mentioned Andrew WK coming up in the New York sort of scene, the music scene. And there's a direct connection between him and a guy named Vladislav Surkov, who is like a Russian propagandist. And it's making the claim that they were traveling in the same circle. So now it's like, as of like this year, now Russian propagandists are involved in the AWK expanded universe. And like, I haven't even gone through all the site, it's all like new shit. And then it's like, okay, who's involved? Is it Andrew WK himself doing it? Maybe, but that's almost another level to it, which is what I'm going to get to in a second. But just to let you know, like, that thing kind of keeps expanding with weird connections to this guy. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it's insane how far that rabbit hole just keeps going down.
Yeah,
well, and I'm sure he's not the only musician entertainer that's got something like this, but this is, you know, I mean, because, like, you know, Chappelle's been supposedly replaced, Miley Cyrus might have been replaced. There's a whole lot of them that have.
And now there's also one aspect to this that I think adds the most critical layer to why this is interesting, because all of this up until this point, you can be thinking, okay, he's just maybe secretly like a normal guy behind the scenes, and he's just very, very creative. But through my own research and through my own, you know, paying attention to his lyrics, it kind of, his latest album is called God Is Partying, and on the surface it might sound like, oh, he's gotten into like a Christian rock sort of thing, because he's all about positivity, he's all about light and whatnot. And then, but if you read the lyrics, it starts to sound more like a satanic album.
I mean, Lucifer means light bringer, right? And he does mention light a lot.
So there's, just to give you an example, there's a set of lyrics in one of his most recent singles called Everybody Sins, which is actually a really, really good song. It's one of his best songs he's ever made, which is why this is so frustrating. But here's some lyrics from the end of it. I'm just going to read them. He's the dark in the shadow. He's the meaning of it all. He's the sun in the rainbow. Liberation was the fall. Break the chain of the pattern. Take the painting off the wall. It's the new reign of Saturn. Liberation for us all. That's not very partying, is it? It's kind of strange stuff.
He seems to interchange the word party for a lot of other, like, he means it party as in like group of people going towards this cause or whatever, almost.
Precisely. And if one other aspect that leads into this is that, do you know what being a Thelemite is? Thelemite, it's that Aleister Crowley religion.
Right.
He's basically that.
I know he got heavily into Martin Buber.
Yeah, and he did a speaking engagement at South by Southwest, I think in 2013, where he was on a panel basically admitting that, like, I'm going to get called out for this because I want to call it Satanism, but it's not. But it is sort of that do what thy will be the whole of the law, very esoteric, almost Kabbalistic. And if you
Martin Buber was hugely into the same thing too. Yeah, like, and I believe he died in Israel.
Yeah, like, and a lot of, if you look at the imagery in his music videos, like, you see Baphomet, you see the unicursal hexagram, you start seeing all this like sacred number stuff. The number 93 is very, very important to them. So, you know, if we take this all for what it is, like, let's start to put some of the pieces together. There is at some level, there's a conspiracy going on here. Mm-hmm. There's some either it's a group of people that created Andrew WK, which all signs point to yes, but it seems inarguable that it's being used, his music, his image, and this thing called Andrew WK is being used as a way to smuggle in this sort of Luciferian ideology into the mainstream. That part seems inarguable to me. And through his public speaking, and it's got a kind of a veneer of positivity and new ageism to it, but like, he's admitted openly that, oh, this is the religion I follow, and it's sort of this like hedonistic Baphomet stuff. And then, but Aether, you had mentioned, like, what is the party? We would think that the party is just having fun. No, to him, party is a ritual. And there's one other thing that I discovered around 2021, and again, it's very difficult to parse how involved he is in all of this, but there was what was purported to be lost journals that were written by Andrew WK that fell into the hands of someone that owned by a former roommate of his. And then there's all these notebooks from like the early 2000s. Yeah, but it was like in his writing and everything, and it was like him kind of explaining everything what he wants to do. And I went through page by page of this thing, and I saved the parts I like the most. I won't go through all of it, but he says, if this is Andrew WK, and it might very well be him leaking this information, but he talks about how this entire experiment called Andrew WK is a mega ritual. It is like a 30-year project that he's embarking on.
Why not 33?
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe 93. But he says it in his books, he says it's going to take at least 30 years for this to come to fruition. But it's like he's setting out, he's like a high school dropout too. So he's like, this is what I want to do, is engage in like almost a mass brainwashing ritual. And he's talking about how he's going to like infect people or smuggle in or launder these ideas through like pop music and rock, but like expose people to these ideas covertly. So like, when you look at the Andrew WK thing, what is so fascinating to me is it's not just one conspiracy. It's like a meta conspiracy. It's a conspiracy within a conspiracy. And if there's like 3 or 4 different levels where if any of this is true, it's weird and fucked up. Mm-hmm. Because like, even if he's not created by a cabal of entertainment executives, that just means it's all from him. But that also means that he's trying to do this. He's trying to do this like weird Luciferian sort of thing on people. But I think what maybe fucked him up, and you know, some people might disagree with that. There might be some people who like that sort of thing. That's fine. No judgment here. But you know, it seems like an odd thing to do. I think what might have stood in his way is that he's not as popular as he used to be. That this might have sounded like a really grandiose, cool plan many years ago when he was on the upswing and everyone was talking about Andrew WK. But now even music journalists are like, oh yeah, it's that fucking Steve Mike thing. I don't care. I don't, he's not actually like the top of the pops right now. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff going on, it's like, yeah, it's more of an eccentricity, but like it's still something that's going on. And if you read through the lyrics of his album, like it almost sounds like a schizophrenic meltdown plastered in like cool musicianship.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's all him, it kind of gives me almost like Jared Leto vibes. Like, my girlfriend's brought it to me several times, like, hey, Jared Leto's like starting a cult and no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah, he actually would take off to the desert, like, and like missed out on all of COVID, came back and was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, dude. He's just allowed to start his own fucking gathering out there.
Yeah. If we were to do that, I mean, you saw what happened. We tried together.
That's a great point, because if you go into the Andrew WK fandom right now, you go in his subreddit, go into any of these groups, you'll find people that kind of do treat this as a cult. He's not the cult leader, but they're just into this like meta lore, this thing that like turns in and almost devours itself. Like, where does it begin and where does it end? Like the facts are, like, he still was effectively chased out of music, and this Steve Mike character does seem to exist. Like, Steve Mike is a real legal entity, and he mentions this. Like, some people think, oh, it's a pseudonym, but if you read his journals, he talks about SM like it's a real guy that he knows. So it's like,
he did say he used to call himself that too.
That's the thing. Like, he'll switch between Steve Mike. It's a guy he knows, but it's also him. But then you think, like, what version of Andrew WK is this? If we do believe that there's multiple actors, which he has admitted to, things like that. And then the grand plan, if you are to believe Andrew WK himself, he says he wants to create this sort of mega ritual to create his own unreality. Like, he wants to do effectively like some kind of weird spell that's there's no such thing as truth. It's this contradictory information. So, like I said, it's like a tesseract of conspiracies. Like, there actually is no truth in this entire thing, but there's the things that don't seem true you could actually say happened, because Steve Mike doesn't seem like he's a real guy, but he actually is. That's weird. It's like, there is no conspiracy against him, but then why was he chased out of music? Why would someone chase themselves out of the music industry and like make no money for like 5 years? That's either true or a schizophrenic level of commitment. You know what I mean?
Schizophrenic marketing.
Yeah, like faking your own losing revenue streams.
Yeah, almost like faking your own death, almost to an extent, but you're not dead. Like, you make yourself like unattainable almost to make people want you more, right? Because they talked about too how it was like the height of torrenting, so like people were still torrenting that Japanese album or whatever.
Sure. I mean, it didn't work for David Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still alive.
Is he still alive?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. David Bowie. He just what did he do? He put on a wig and then pretended to be his own tour manager.
Oh, is he? I haven't heard this one.
He didn't. Yeah, he did. He did an interview after he quote died, and it was literally just him in a wig.
Really, I got to see this. So I would love some new David Bowie music. I'm not even a huge fan of David Bowie. I'd like to hear some new stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't remember what his last album was, but there was like a lot of like symbolism and stuff, like resurrection stuff. Was it Aether?
Or was that the song?
Yeah. Oh, and would you?
I don't know.
I suppose you also subscribe to Tupac Shakur being alive. That's probably the most accepted one, right?
I'm not sure if Tupac's alive or not. I don't really, honestly don't care. I mean, to be fair, I really don't care. Like the rapper. We did a thing with.
He'd probably be pretty close to death if he was alive still, right?
It wasn't really like he wasn't really one of the partying types. Like, he was like the good guy, right?
I don't know about all that. He was a drama guy or something, right?
He was an actor.
That was his deal. Yeah, like he did drama shit before he ever like quote unquote was a thug.
Yeah, that was the whole joke about Tupac, is that he was the thug life gangster guy, but he was kind of like a drama kid. Like,
yeah, he was an actor.
A poet guy.
Mm-hmm. He did poetry and acting and stuff. Yeah,
so that's anyway. I didn't know the guy.
I don't know. That's not one. No, as far as like that. Well, anyways, we were doing research for a Michael Jackson episode, and came across like, you know, this whole long documentary on all these black entertainers who've been replaced. And like Steve Harvey came up, and this guy came up, that guy, Cedric the Entertainer. He's dead, right? Is Cedric the Entertainer dead? I forgot which one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is Bernie Mac.
Yeah, Cedric and Bernie both died, right? But they were like,
black people love that cloning shit and like the replacing people shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They're real into that shit.
So it was like almost to the point where like, well, it's like whatever. But you know, and what's funny is they don't. White people don't believe this as much, right? Like most black people think that Dave Chappelle is not Dave Chappelle, right? But if you talk to any white people about it, they're like, "Oh, come on, John, that's just silly." You really believe that?
The problem with black people is that you kind of want to.
Hold on. You said the problem.
Oh, yeah. But I'm like, I thought we were going to keep it PG-13 here.
That's
we can
okay.
go off on this.
It's Paranormies. It's okay.
But I'm also like, they will believe literally every conspiracy theory. Like, you can go up to a black person right now and make up a conspiracy theory. They're like, yeah, I know. They'll act like they've heard it before. So it's like they'll probably believe that they're clones if you bring it up. Like that, the person you're talking to.
That's pretty fucking hilarious. But also, I
don't know if they did that. It's a passive admission that they're admitting that they look the same. Like, I didn't say it. You guys thought you're all clones.
Mm-hmm. That's actually pretty funny. I'm going to test that. I'm going to test that. We have a semi-conspiracy theory black guy at work, and he's fun. So,
where's he now? What's the flavor of it? Because I find like every race has got like a conspiracy theory that they like the most. Like I find like black people are really like obsessed with like the queen and aristocracy and stuff like that.
What happened?
Trying to get out us.
We were talking about you want to talk about some stupid arguments people have at work, right? One was we had an argument over how many apple seeds it would take to actually kill a man with cyanide. That's a work argument. That's how you know you're bored. Another one was whether or not John Madden was actually nuts because he didn't want to fly. That his rationale for not wanting to fly was actually irrational, and therefore he was nuts. So, anyways, that brought us into another argument, and somehow we got into. Oh shit! I lost my track of what I was going to say now. Oh my god!
I'm still thinking about the apple seeds one because what was the number you came up with?
We didn't come up with one, but we're just going to test because apparently it's like 20 to 30 apple seeds ground up can kill a man, like the cyanide, right? And I'm like, well, I've been eating apples. Like there was a thing on Facebook like in like 2009 that I saw. It's like you've been eating fruit the wrong way. And
what happens if I eat the stem and core?
Well, you're supposed to take the stem off and then eat the apple from the top to the bottom.
Nah, I eat the whole thing.
Yeah, all the way down top to the bottom, and you don't get that core. The walls of the core don't exist when you eat it, vertically as opposed to around horizontally, right? Something to do with the cell structure. Anyways, so you eat the seeds too, and they're like, well, ground apple seeds are supposedly dangerous. I'm like, dude, I've been doing. I eat an apple every day at lunch. There's 8 to 10 seeds in every apple. I guess
because I'm also thinking, like, if this were true, then there would be like old wives' tales and urban myths about apple poisoning. Like, that'd be in the zeitgeist a lot more, I think.
Right. So we that was one of the big stupid arguments at work the other day was how many apple seeds would it take to kill somebody? I said, listen, I tell you what, I am going to make sure that I masticate my seeds every time I eat an apple and to see what happens if I don't get like a sick stomach or something. Because that's what they're saying. They're like, no, you're clearly just swallowing the seeds, Johnny. You're not actually chewing them, so you're not getting the cyanide effect. So,
but do they know what digestion is?
Well, that
doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's the point. I don't know.
Like we're trying to like unpack the logic here, but it's like it's not true. No one's gonna die from it. Like if you chew the seeds, it's not gonna like kill you more than if you swallow it. But I'm like the number I came up with was like 10,000. That's just a number that maybe it's 10,000 apple seeds ground up.
It would have to be a whole lot more than you could eat in just a couple of apples, I'm sure. It's not like what's the other one? Like what was the other old wives? Watermelon seeds. You don't eat watermelon seeds or grow a watermelon in your stomach.
I'm sick of these old wives.
Yes, and their tails.
These
false
fucking
tales.
catty bras just making shit up. Like that's one of those old wives' tales where I don't know why it would be invented.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was that to prevent? Like there's too many kids eating watermelon seeds. Who gives a shit? Let them do it.
Right.
We got old wives'
tale. And you know what's funny? Speaking of watermelon seeds,
isn't it wise tale?
Isn't it what?
Like, wise, like WISE.
No, old wives, like old wives.
It is wives.
Like
I did not know that.
wife. Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yes.
That should be enough for you not to
I knew the
listen to
joke,
it.
like my old wives' tale. You know, like I knew the bit, but I didn't know that was what it was actually
Yes,
called.
it's old wives' tale. Yes.
All
People have been distrusting wives since time immemorial.
I mean, have they been wrong? Ever? Are you wrong to not trust? No, you're not. These are the same people that will punch you in the middle of the night because they had a dream about something you did.
Is old wives' tale like a proto?
They dream. Excuse me. It's something they dreamed you did.
Maybe like an old wives' tale is like a proto conspiracy. Like it's just some shit you heard.
Well, it's what it is like, Nana keeps telling all these tales or whatever, right? And I don't know. Back in the day, people lived to like 900, right?
This is what you did before TV. You just lie to kids.
I mean, after TV, they still do. I still do it. I lie to my kids all the time. What are you talking about?
I can't wait to be able to lie to kids. Like I got maybe not my kids, but my grandkids for sure. I'm gonna lie to them.
Oh, absolutely. Especially about about their parents. Absolutely. Yes.
Damn it. Are we pro boomer now?
No, we're not pro boomer at all. My mom's a boomer. Is your mom a boomer? Your parents boomer?
No, I don't think so. She's the one, but like an older Gen X. I don't know what is that then.
Yeah, kind of in the same boat. I think my mom's like maybe technically, but maybe not technically. I'm not really sure.
Because my mom's not, but like my father-in-law is, and they're in like a between area. Because I was complaining, but I thought it was safe to complain about boomers one day, and then he's like, "I'm a boomer." I'm like,
Hey, well,
Whoops.
"Well, I guess you should fucking kill yourself then."
right? Whoops. Yeah, no, my mom is like turbo Fox News boomer.
Shane Gillis has a great bit about having a Fox News dad and how it's better than having a Fox News mom.
Yeah, I can see
At least,
that.
I mean, not saying it's much better, but like my stepdad's favorite Fox person was Tucker. So he was one of those guys. And now Tucker's gone. I've yet to ask him if he's lost his mind yet. He probably follows his podcast.
Who's on Fox now that people give a shit about? Because it was Tucker, and then it was we're getting back into politics again. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gave up Fox over that.
Sean Hannity was like the other big guy there.
Yes. Yeah.
Who's literally
The
just
forehead.
Yeah, just a guy who's like running whatever the government tells him to say at this point.
It's forehead.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just I haven't watched regular news in so long. I think my mom.
Same.
I think she's graduated to Newsmax. And what's the other one?
What is that?
It's like Newsmax, and there's another one. It's like
no, actually, Newsmax was the one who interviewed that David Grush guy, the UFO guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. The whistleblower.
What quickly? I know we probably covered this on the show, but I haven't heard it. What's your quick read on that guy and this whole UFO disclosure thing right now?
Anybody who's ex-CIA, ex-FBI, it's all bullshit. I mean, there's no such thing as ex any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all just, I mean, it's scam, bankman, fraud, got all his charges thrown out. So UFOs.
Yeah. I
got like a bunch of huge interviews.
Yeah.
We had a take on our show that, I want to hear what you think about it, because there's a lot of people on our side. I like UFO stuff. Maybe that's just because
I love UFO stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love all the UFO stuff. It's fascinating. Like the fact that these things, like the Phoenix Lights.
I don't believe in aliens.
I don't either. But obviously there's craft of some sort.
Once they start talking about once they start talking about the an interdimensional angle to it, I perked up. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yep.
Like, let's see. Let's talk about this. But a lot of people on our side were saying, "Oh, this is Project Bluebeam." And for people who don't know, the Project Bluebeam was this like declassified thing in the '90s, which was a plan from I think the CIA to fake extraterrestrial contact landing to usher everyone into like a one world government, something like that. Just to purposefully trick people with an alien thing. So people are saying, "Oh, this is just Project Bluebeam," especially people on our side who like to ignore things. But the point I was making was, let's say it is Project Bluebeam. The awareness of Project Bluebeam is part of Project Bluebeam. Like it's unrealistic that they would do an exact psyop that people are aware of. So if there is a psyop, the psyop itself is banking on the pop culture being aware of that. So, and I guess the angle I was taking was, and maybe this is kind of defeatist, but it's like, an effective psyop you can never really stand outside of. Like if you're aware of it, that awareness you have is also part of the psyop in almost like a weird meta way.
Oh, sure.
What do you think about that?
I agree with you 100%. I mean, if a retard like me can figure out what happened at Sandy Hook, I mean, that's part of the psyop, right? You know,
yeah, it's like they kind of, part of it could be they want to see who purposefully puts their head in the sand about this. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying like it is what they're saying, but I'm like, something.
No, it's definitely not what they're saying. I mean, that's part, again, the whole thing is part of the psyop. And according to, we've had Wayne McCroy on the show. He's an author, several very good books. He informed us that Bluebeam never actually existed. The Project Bluebeam itself is in fact.
Don't you know? We just have to get our politics right, and then the aliens are going to want us.
Right, right, exactly. But
that's also like the stories they tell. It's like they're really interested in our developments, and they think we're so smart. I'm like, it seems also like a human-centric story, a story that a human would write.
Very much, yeah, absolutely. Everything, like, why would something from somewhere else give a shit about, you know what I mean? It's the stuff that we've written. Thank you, Gene Roddenberry. You know, thank you for all of the or all the other sci-fi stuff that's. When did we talked about this in the oh no, Ether, were you in that conversation about how long Star Trek Trekkies and the uniforms at cosplay have been a thing?
No, but it's been a pretty long time. Like pretty much since like conception of the original series.
Yeah,
and, like,
the original series came out.
I fucking love Star Trek, but that shit is like literal propaganda for NASA.
The show came
the
out,
original series.
Yes, the original series came out in November '66, and then at they
literally have an episode revolving around like the '60s moon fucking landing and like the rocket and like all that shit.
Yes, and then in '67 there was a sci-fi convention, and it was less than 6 months after the show had started. There was an entire cadre of people dressed as people from Star Trek.
But Johnny, it was new and exciting.
Sure, from the very beginning, yeah. I mean, I guess, we talked about this at work actually today. Somebody mentioned tech, you know, like how the government is 20 years ahead of us. Now, bullshit. If there are craft that are, you know, some sort of Tesla technology reverse engineered or whatever, the black budget skunk works stuff out at Lockheed Martin, you know, that's far further than 20 years ahead. But I always bring up whenever somebody says that, it's like, well, Gene Roddenberry and all of his Apple products in the original Star Trek series. FaceTime was Star Trek
for sure.
Yes, yeah. FaceTime, the Apple Watch, the tricorder, and the iPhone.
The idea of texting and general, pagers.
Yeah.
One of the things we were talking about on the show was this interesting phenomena that I'm kind of feeling my way through, but it's like the psyop to fandom to politics pipeline. So these things like would start off as a government psyop, then a fandom forms about them. That would be the Star Trek area, and also UFO fandom generally. Because, you know, the UFO fandom is like this self-contained thing that they have UFO conventions and everything.
Yeah, they almost perpetuate it themselves.
Yeah,
it's like that's work for them.
And then those people get into politics. The kids of those people, that's the David Grush guy. It's like the Fox Mulder effect.
Right.
Where like the people raised in the culture of UFOs get into the bureaucracy. Like, I'm going to find the UFOs now. And it's this sort of like cyclical thing.
Yeah, X-Files is like literally one of my favorite shows ever, but like Chris Carter, the guy who wrote it and like produced it, I don't know if he produced it, but he directed it. He had a friend in the CIA that he would regularly talk to. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not a coincidence.
Yeah, like a lot of that stuff is like I love all the mundanity of X-Files about how like it seemed accurate about how fucking broke they seemed about everything and staying in shitty motels and stuff.
Yeah, I love the X-Files. It's a great show.
I do too. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch.
I'll tell you what I did. I fucked up and I went back and rewatched just what's called the Myth Arc episodes, which is like the central alien plot, which is actually the worst part of the show. It's so but the good stuff is like the weird
side quests.
Yeah, that shit is dynamite. The main quest where it's like alien bounty hunters. And
the idea of writing the show like that is brilliant.
Yeah,
to write like a side quest that just take place in different parts of the season.
Yes.
That's all
yeah,
tied
and
together.
like every episode isn't following the main storyline, right? Like but like sometimes the little side things intertwine here and there. Like just that was all fantastic.
Yeah, and there really isn't a show that's been like that. I don't think that really took it seriously, and they call them Monster of the Week episodes.
What's that stupid show they do? It's like two guys, they do paranormal shit, but it's like I don't remember.
There was like a Simon Pegg or one of those like a comedy British show. There was one like that, but there wasn't.
I'll come back to it.
Yeah, but the Monster of the Week ones. I remember there was one episode where it was just, hey, here's the Loch Ness monster. What are Mulder and Scully going to do about it? You know, like shit like that. They find a mummy or something, but like there's nothing. I don't know, like the 90s was a better time for conspiracy theories. Now, like, we're in the zeitgeist where the conspiracy theories won. Now no one really trusts anything, and we don't know what to do about that. And that's the whole interesting thing about the UFO disclosure. And I guess just to mention Andrew WK, that what interested me so much about that was that it was like an evolution of a conspiracy theory. It's like a conspiracy theory that multiplies the closer you look at it. And there actually is no bottom to it. And it kind of like, it's like being stuck in a hall of mirrors. And then you realize that is the conspiracy. It actually, that entire being lost in there is part of like the ritual as he sees it. And that's why I'm like, it's not a puzzle you can actually solve. And that's a very modern type of conspiracy. And I think that's something that everyone now experiences where, like, I don't know what the answer to anything is. I don't know. Like, everything seems so evolved. Like you said, like, you know, whatever we are aware of right now from the government, what they really have is like 15 years ahead. And this is just what they allow us to see. So I'm like, I can't even believe the truth. I can't even believe disclosure. Okay, if you can't believe
disclosure is on purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you
timing.
do?
Well, look at the timing again. Like,
the stupid show is Supernatural, by the way.
Oh, okay, Supernatural.
They tried to do that sort of X-Files dynamic, but I never watched.
Oh, fuck, I remember that. That's like a girl show, too.
It is. It is. I remember girls in high school watching it and shit like that.
I have two ex-girlfriends that love that show.
One of these girl shows you hear about.
Yeah, it's like that other vampire show or something.
It's like Buffy.
Yeah.
One of them vampire shows.
My wife was watching this. She was bored and watching the Vampire Diaries.
That's the one.
Yeah, supernatural shit's apparently easy to do. It's like murder, fucking serial killer shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, and all women love that shit. It's a catnip for them, you know.
It's also here's like not to get into a political thing.
I don't mind any of that shit, but
here's something people can take into their like racial side of things. It's that vampire shows are the only acceptable media where people are permitted to like old white aristocracy. Like if you look at vampires, like what are they? They're like a bunch of like, you know, aristocratic white people in like big mansions and they dress like that. You're not allowed to just like that stuff, so it has to be vampiric.
But
then True Blood's like hold my beer.
Yeah.
I don't even watch that. I know there's
never seen it either, but I know there's non-white vampires in it as well. I said then True Blood's like hold my beer.
Oh, True Blood, yeah. I think I've watched like 5 minutes of that show. I don't watch any new TV. If I watch anything, if I'm gonna watch television, it's gonna be like Aqua Teen.
I watch a lot of Frasier.
Frasier?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I feel bad for myself because everyone's just watching cool old stuff. I watch new stuff and it's bad.
It's terrible. You and Skull, dude. Skull is like he swears it's
Skull's just investigating.
Yeah, he's investigating, looking for for Mandela effects and some predictive programming. But honestly, you're just watching TV, bro. Stop.
He makes me kind of want to watch the new Westworld.
Yeah.
No, don't watch season 1 and then just drop it.
Okay. I love the old movie.
Season 1 of Westworld actually could be, it's like a self-contained thing. You can just, it ends nicely and just say, yep, nothing else after that.
I mean, that's how the movie is. The movie's just a thing. And it's just like they get out. It's over.
Like, I think the last show I got very excited about was probably season 3 of Twin Peaks. And how long ago was that?
That was like a fucking acid flashback, dude.
It was a long time ago.
Honestly, like
I loved it. It was awesome. But the first time I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I watched like 5 or 6 more times eventually. And
I got really deep into looking into electricity and things like that, and
the aging aspect of it.
Yeah, once you kind of get like David Lynch is a
fucking genius.
Well, but he's also a conspiracy guy. Like, if you know the stuff that we do, and you see like a lot of the esoteric stuff in the Black Lodge, if you really look into it, like, oh, this is based off of something only freaks like us would know. That makes me happy. And then, but to a regular person, it's just kind of a weird show.
See, the thing with him too is a lot of people like Andrew WK, to tie it back to him in a way, was really into him or whatever. But I feel like a lot of people see him as this like, he just wants to show you like horror for horror's sake or freaks for freak's sake, right? But it's like, I feel like he's actually a very positive guy. Like, it's especially in his personal life, like he's really into like meditation and stuff. And I feel like a lot of what he's doing is just having people experience different realities, maybe through dreams or different mediums or whatever. But he particularly likes dreams.
Yeah, consider this. Like, if anyone else made Twin Peaks, it can only be made by David Lynch because he has a genuine love and appreciation and fondness of America and Americana. Like, he
for sure
loves small town life. And if anyone else made Twin Peaks, they would do it where the town is secretly racist, everyone's inbred. Like, the darkness in that town is that the people themselves are bad. But he tells a story where these are good people. You like these people. It's not critical of them. And like all of his movies, like, he just loves, that stuff. It's so, I don't want to call it quaint, but it is genuine. And he will tell a horror story from that vantage point, what's lurking supernaturally around there. But it's like the Jordan Peele would do the opposite, where no, the town is the evil part,
Right. Yeah, like he sees things happening in Twin Peaks as in like things are being inflicted on the town. They're not like things the town is causing. Whereas
you like these characters. Yeah, you like seeing what happens to them, and they're genuine people. And there's I don't know who's got such a singular voice anymore. Like, I don't think there is another David Lynch. I don't know who the new crop of interesting directors is, but I
don't think there. Dude, I saw a thing where it was like 20 up and coming new directors or hot directors, something like that. It was something terrible, and every single one was black and gay, black trans gay, and trans and black and brown. Like, it was just like one after you're never going to get another David Lynch. You're never going to get
even aside from he did have what's his name, David Duchovny played a tranny in Twin Peaks. I apologize for the cry.
That's okay.
Well, that's the thing. Like, originally, that was almost treated like a joke, and then in season 3, they had to make it serious and real. Like, no, we stand by trans David Duchovny, because the whole joke was, hey, it's David Duchovny dressed as a woman. Get a load of that.
Right.
Now it's stunning and brave. Okay, I get it.
He did kind of do the bit. He did. I mean, you can't not do the bit completely, you know what I mean, and still be allowed to do your thing.
I can't blame someone like David Lynch for not having hate in his heart, because to go against that thing in our pop culture, you would need to be like someone like me that's really angry. But I'd rather him not be a bitter, angry guy, and that's going to mean he's going to ride certain waves that I don't like. Whatever, he's old, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's different than it's different than him doing that is a lot different than Jim Caviezel's movie that just came out.
Yeah, I just think it's not his hill to die on, pretty much.
Yeah. But also, like, in terms of directors, I'm sorry if we're leading too far off the beaten path of paranormal stuff here, but like the ones I think of directors that are interesting aren't as compelling as David Lynch. Like, ones with a unique voice. Some people are probably going to shoot me with guns for saying this, but like a Wes Anderson. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of his later stuff. I'm like, okay, there's a guy who stylistically, he's got a thing going. Okay. There's like Ari Aster, who did, Beau's Afraid, did Hereditary. I'm like, okay, I don't know if he's like stylistically, he doesn't stand out, but I'm like, okay, maybe one day. But no one's like slapping their style on the table and saying, look, you've never seen anything like this before. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of who that would be, right? Aside from Wes Anderson, but that feels gimmicky.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you're never going to get another Lynch. You're not getting another Kubrick. You're not getting... Nope.
Sorry, I was gonna jump in a second ago, but the baby was crying. Yeah. Say actually, Wes Anderson does a lot of callback to like really old style films because he uses miniatures and like all of his stuff. I was also gonna ask you if you're gonna see Asteroid World.
I did. I did not like it. We review that on the episode that's going to be coming out tomorrow. Actually, me and my co-host saw it because I do a lot of movie reviews on the show. I'm trying to do less because I only want to reserve them to good, either stuff I really love or stuff I don't like, but for a good reason. And I could go on a whole rant about Wes Anderson, but I will say I did not like Asteroid City.
Asteroid City, that's what it was.
Yeah,
I said World before.
I didn't like French Dispatch either. I actually hated French Dispatch, and I was all set to like it. And I just think, long story short, I think something happened with Fantastic Mr. Fox that broke his mind, and he's been getting a lot kookier and more cartoonish and more over the top since then. He doesn't really make real stories anymore. That's almost like a meta commentary on himself, and I don't appreciate that. Anyway,
yeah, it makes you think like, is it either this is just something that happens to these people when they get to a certain point, or is it like the fans are now basically writing the movies? Like you said, it becomes like a caricature of like him.
Like it didn't always need to be.
Or like the critics and the people who like watch his movies are kind of essentially with words writing his next movie because he wants to write things they're going to want to see on purpose, and they become like predictable almost.
Yeah, well, and also he got into this thing where it's like, look at all the big stars in this movie, and then you have to like, does this matter? Like, does the Royal Tenenbaums worked because everyone fit their character?
Not because perfectly. Of the stars, right?
Yeah, but this one's like, oh, and here's Tom Hanks. I'm like, Tom Hanks didn't actually need to be in this one, and he could have been played by anyone. Yeah,
I could definitely. I fucking hate Tom Hanks, and I fucking hate Bill Murray. And he's like fans of both of them.
Wait, hold on. Say that last part again. You hate?
Nah, I don't. Yeah, can't stand Bill Murray.
What?
I don't hate Bill Murray. I
guess it's less of a fucking hate. He more annoys me.
I'm just kind of done with Bill Murray. Like I get why he shows up and does Bill Murray things, but I think I've seen the best of Bill Murray. And if I saw no more Bill Murray again, I'd be okay with it because now he's just showing up. And just, I don't know, he stands out. I don't really see him acting that much anymore. If that makes sense.
I mind Groundhog Day, and I don't mind, what's the freaking Hunter S. Thompson movie he did? I can't remember.
Which one? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
The 90s one.
Oh, Bill Murray, Where the Buffalo Roam.
Yes. Where the Buffalo Roam.
That was good, though.
Yeah, I like that, and I liked Groundhog Day, but other than that, I just...
He became...
And then Bill Murray out of nowhere became like, because that stupid Zombieland movie became like this huge thing, like fucking Bill Murray, like this huge deal for no reason.
And also nowhere, showing up in coffee and cigarettes as himself, like, oh shit, Bill Murray. Like he became too much of himself, if that makes any sense.
I think it was because that movie, because that was like in that movie, they're like, it's fucking Bill Murray, because he just shows up.
And then there became this rumor about Bill Murray, like he might just show up at your house party. He's a guy who just does weird things. I'm like,
a wild and kooky guy.
That just sounds sad. It just sounds like an old man wandering the New York streets at night, showing up around young people. I'm like, you should have
kids.
You should have grandkids. Like you should be on a porch somewhere. It shouldn't be like making cocktails for 17-year-olds. I don't get this.
Right? Didn't Bill Cosby get arrested for that?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing about Bill Cosby. It's like, Bill, you're Bill Cosby. Like, you're America's dad. All these women want to have sex with you. You don't need pills. What's wrong with you?
I like the idea that he's one of the first. Let's say this: Bill Cosby.
That's another one black people were not ready to take.
Bill Cosby was a pioneer of rape. He was the guy who just did it for the love of the game. He didn't need to.
And this is coming from you're okay. I can see why you got kicked out of that chat for defending rape now.
Was it me? I don't think. Oh wait,
the other day you were talking about. I don't know how I ended up here, but somehow I was defending rape. At the end of the day, where I was like, that is not. You don't want to. That's not where you want to be when Jesus comes back.
What it was. It was.
No, and I get it because those women think like if you give them you say hi and you boink your eyebrows at them, that's rape. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it was. I was kind of going off of that. I don't like this guy, but like the Bronze Age pervert, vitalism, anti-longhouse sort of thing. And I'm like, well, masculinity is sexual aggressiveness. You can go down that path. And there was this friend of ours named Theron. his line was, I think there is a middle ground between the matriarchy and rapists were right.
Yeah,
playing the sensible.
Though, doesn't he bang dudes?
Bap.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
is that
like,
real? I don't.
Well,
remember.
it's the cycle. No, it's cycle. It's the cycle. It's like Bap posts a tweet I follow Bap. Bap posts some homo shit, I unfollow Bap. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too much on him.
I don't either.
I could go off for. Well, we did a video on him once, but I essentially agree with that. And the idea of the Longhouse is basically just the matriarchy. But it's one of those thought experiments where I'm like, I'm going to go down this extreme. Is this extreme more true than the parallel extreme? Yes, and it sounds crazy, but there's some let's just say this extreme. Anyway, I don't want to bore people with the. You got here because of Bill Cosby.
Yes. Well,
I don't want people to come away from this thinking I'm like a pro rape guy. No,
but that was funny. Okay, and jokes are. I don't care what anybody says, dude. Jokes are funny. People need to lighten up.
Look, Bill Cosby, you don't need to like the game to appreciate a man operating at the top of his game. That's all I'm going to say. Absolutely.
Where Bill was at the top of his game, OJ was not.
So. Everyone does that about Genghis Khan. It's like,
dude,
death of one is a tragedy. Death of a million is a statistic. One person raped, it's a tragedy. This guy raped 1 million people. You say, damn.
Yeah, and they have worldwide museum exhibit tours of the most famous rapist ever, right?
Yeah, don't talk to me until you've been to the rape museum.
Right.
Actually.
Don't talk to me until you've seen Genghis Khan.
I guess Genghis Khan raped China into existence.
That's we don't believe that.
Allegedly.
But
somewhere out there, I know my guys, the listeners of our show, they probably got a Dimes bingo card right now. They just checked off elongated rape discussion. There's always
Isn't that a free one,
on the Paranormies.
Isn't that a free one, though, for you?
It's a free one. Well, it's free. There's so many jokes we can do.
I know. And to think I haven't made one Radiohead joke this whole time.
Oh, good. That's what joke are you going to make? There's no joke to make. There.
I mean,
the world's greatest band, actually.
Oh. All right, we're going to leave that one alone. I think we've had enough.
It's like Thomas 77 and the Beatles. He's just got such a hatred for the Beatles.
Right. I don't hate Radiohead. I just don't. They're one of the band. Okay, they fall into the category of. Unfortunately, they have way too many letters to be in the category. But if they should have 4 letters in their name because only 4-letter name bands can be that pretentious.
Well, let me tell you this: show me your locked soul and give me an hour, and I will pick that lock with the key of Radiohead.
I've listened to all of their stuff. I own most of it. I know.
I got a mix. No joke. I've got a Google Doc with the mixtape that I show people. And if you give, I can take you on a journey where at the end of that journey, you're like, Dimes, you saved me.
All right. I
like how I haven't recommended any Andrew WK songs either.
Absolutely not. Yeah, we're not even for a break song. We're actually way past break, which is fine. Do you guys care? Does anybody need to take a break, or do you guys want to take a break? Or
I was going to ask. I'm like, are we still in the first hour?
No, we are way into the second hour.
Okay.
You guys want to take a quickie and then?
How much time were we talking?
Do you got to take off, Aether?
Well, that's what I say. If it's not much longer, then I'll just.
We're about
finish now.
We're at about 1 hour and 45. So,
oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
If you want it, I can make it without peeing until I said peeing. I should say pissing because I'm a guy.
It's all right.
I can make it. I can make it to hour 2 without pissing.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Yeah, we'll just do this without a break, and then people get to listen to our dulcet tones without having to listen to Andrew WK.
If people want to go, and I'm just going to take a little detour here. If people want to find, listen to the song "Everybody Sins," and look at the song "Babylon." If you look at Babylon, the music video, there's a lot of really trippy imagery in that, but it's also a really, really good song.
So here's a question about this Andrew WK thing. What's the point? What would be the point of creating a fake artist to do all this stuff who has some sort of a strange split personality, changes his entire all of his, all like halfway through his career, just like changes it all up, right?
I think. Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say there's two layers to this, and it's kind of what I was talking about before. That I genuinely think that this, fractal of a conspiracy, because that is what it is, like a house of mirrors of conspiracies, which is why I find it so engaging. I do think it is what he said it was, which is this sort of a new type of strange ritual, a ritual in the sense that is certain phrases repeated. He's trying to like jailbreak certain ideas into people's minds, either him or the cabal that runs him, or the whatever group is involved in this. I think it is genuinely trying to feed something into the popular culture that introduces these thelemic ideas about, do what they will, almost like a Luciferian hedonism, with a shellac of positivity. I do think that is what it is. It's whether or not that is being forwarded by this one insane man, or if it's a group of people. I think everything is true and not true, and that's also like the thing itself is, I keep using the word cognitohazard. It's like it's this thing that magnetizes you. Once you're aware of it, it draws you in, and it makes you question like what it is. You're just trapped in it now. It's almost like this. It's like a new type of meme, a new type of 21st century meme, like a conspiracy within a conspiracy. But I think the goal is to introduce these like esoteric ideas to people. Okay. And Aether, I think I cut you off there. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say almost like the same thing, pretty much. Just, I think whether he is like a person or just like it's an entity doing the thing, I think, though, this is something that is pretty much standard in the music industry, and maybe the masks, so to speak, slipped on him, right? Like his particular situation became more obvious to people, whereas other people who probably experience the same thing aren't like caught, in that way, or this is part of the marketing ploy.
Yeah, and
the
also
conspiracy is the conspiracy, right?
Precisely. And if you think of like conspiracy theories as a lot of people know them, that's a very 20th century idea. Like there's a conspiracy, there's a mystery, and you uncover the mystery, and there's a bad guy, and you reveal the truth. The evolved conspiracy that we were just talking about this episode is the more layers you peel back, the more like the idea of you uncovering the conspiracy is part of the conspiracy. It's increasingly difficult to stand outside of the psyop. Is the idea. Like it keeps the complexity of the conspiracies keep evolving into these other types of meta narratives, and there's more mirrors in the house of mirrors. So I think that's what I found so fascinating about this. It's like there is no answers, just this sort of like a homeostasis, like a whirlpool of ideas that's just always drawing things in. And once you're in it, you can never really escape it. And that's a very 21st century sort of thing. It's not a comfortable thing. It's not something. It's something that's still kind of changing, and it's only weirdos like us who give a shit about it. I know that might not be like a thrilling answer for people, but that is why I brought it to the pros.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do what we can to expose the fake and the gay around here as much as possible. It seems that like he was one of those. Again, in the early aughts, there was a lot of esoteric stuff being put out in a lot of different spheres, right? Music wise, conspiracy stuff was starting to kick off really big in the early aughts.
It was more of the Wild West internet for sure.
Mm-hmm. And how this just rolls into another topic really quickly. And a lot of stuff happened, like YouTube, right? YouTube was the big place where you could set all the conspiracy stuff until you couldn't anymore, right? And then they started. Oh yeah, right. And then
and we talked about that. We talked about how, at least in my experience, and I'm an internet dork and have been for a long time. Back in high school and stuff like that, and it was very clear to me that the new technology and the new internet spaces always seem to be dominated by fringe ideas first and foremost, and even places like Library and Odyssey. Like whenever there's a new platform, the first people across the finish line tend to be the conspiracy people. Like the first video you're going to get is going to be a moon landing video. It's going to be a flat Earth video. It's going to be one of those things. That and like video game reviews. people just churn those out. It's those two things that are every new platform, and that's sort of they keep that until it reaches critical mass. Because you get the conspiracy guys, and then you get the fringe political people of every stripe, left and right. You get the Nazis, you get the communists, and then they build up a critical mass, and eventually they're excommunicated. And that is the story of YouTube. Everyone talks about like the Wild West days. It's like, yeah, the types of people making the most content tend to be people on our side of the thing until they can afford to just tell us to fuck off. Then we gotta like find a new home.
Yeah, and they do. And then something comes up, it'll be the BitChute or whatever that is, and they migrate over there, and then they might, and then they get banned off of there, or that gets shut down. BitChute's kind of clunky, but it is the place where you can get the weird conspiracy stuff still. Yeah,
BitChute kind of became the hub for that. I was on Library very, very early on, and I liked Library, and they just lost their SEC case, so there won't be a Library in the future, which means there might not be an Odyssey. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of speculation, but that's the only technology I was excited about.
Now I really like Odyssey. It's like Odyssey is really cool because we can re-upload everything. All of our videos, all of our live streams go up on our Odyssey channel. I don't have to worry about. It's just like
their live streaming's gotten pretty good.
Has it? Oh, cool.
We did our first live stream not long ago, and it was lagging until we messed with the bit rate and we fixed it. I think a lot of people don't know how to mess with the little technical stuff, but YouTube usually solves all that for you. But if you have a little bit of technical acumen, you can make Odyssey work a bit better.
We stream through. I just cast OBS through Pilled and Odyssey and DLive all at the same time through Restream.
Yeah, that's something I use OBS. But we're banned on. We got a community strike on YouTube, so we couldn't use YouTube that week. But we're probably going to. We lose our channel very often. We would have banned. way more subs. Yeah,
we're banned. There's the fake Paranormies on YouTube now. We may try putting up another one, but
I mean, you're big enough though. I mean, that's the thing. You've got enough. I work in marketing, so people could throw their fucking pistols at me, but you have a good brand awareness out there. I think you just crossed 20,000 subs, you were saying?
25 on
25,000
on Telegram. And that's not that's not bad for Telegram. I mean, like the really big channels like Ghost Ezra was it turned into a big conspiracy channel. It's private now, but they had over 100,000, but that's whatever. 25,000 for being a fringy conspiracy podcast that actually names the Jew, and
it's not a small amount of numbers.
It's not a small amount of numbers. No, we were doing, before we got booted off of Zencast, we were doing 70,000 downloads a week.
Yeah, we're on Zencast right now, and we're counting the days. And this is the frustrating thing that eventually, every time you get chased off of a platform, you lose 20 to 30% of your followers. It's just it just is a thing that happens. And the more you're chased off of platforms, the less people you bring with you, and you got to restart all over again. And that's something I keep returning to. That's why I liked Odyssey so much, because I'm okay, here's a thing that's never going to kick us off. It uses blockchain technology. It's not hosted on servers. This is a new type of system that's safer. We can set up a base camp here, and we'll never need to worry about this shit again. And here we are. So I don't know. I guess it's BitChute, but I'm not crazy about BitChute either. I think they're based in Israel or something like that. I don't know.
That makes me feel happy and safe.
Yeah.
But no, I like Odyssey. Yeah, and this thing with Library, no. But again, the SEC, all that stuff it's just theater. I mean, it's not like. I mean, we could do a whole show on the conspiracy behind crypto. I mean, how long have the preppers and the patriot people been don't you let them digitize your money? Now all them motherfuckers y'all need to get some XRP.
Yeah, another aspect of crypto that I found very amusing was that it attracts the same type of people who hate pumping and dumping stocks, who hate boom bust cycles, and the first thing these people did across the door was let's pump up this Bitcoin and sell high and just engage in every market manipulation tactic they can.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, because they're advertising to boomers.
Yeah, and I don't know if people are as excited about crypto as they used to be. I think a lot of the people who are very bullish on crypto, they see the writing on the wall that okay, something's happening here. It's too mainstream. They're gonna nationalize something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem as exciting as it used to be. Maybe that's just the word on the street. I don't know.
The fact that they ask you about it on your taxes leads me to believe that something's coming with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And this is why people like us, like I lick my finger, I put it to the wind, I'm like something's happening.
You don't have to talk about your crypto. But
I don't. Something's happening, and I know I don't like what's happening. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but I get a feeling that something bad's going to happen. And I've talked to enough money-minded people, financial experts, who are saying like, "Yeah, no, this is it's not what it used to be. Get out now. It's going to be bad." I don't know, but people I trust.
I saw it in a cryptic dream.
Why the fuck not? I got good dreams. I got a good ass mind.
Dude, David Lynch said that and then made a film.
Right.
Yeah. Don't doubt dreams. Hey, everyone at home, don't doubt the power of just making it up.
I mean, that happens all the time. That's what we do around here. We just make it up. No, we don't just make it up. We do a lot of research around here.
Hey, we believe in phenomenology. I think if you actually just put it out there, it becomes a reality seed. It's not unreal once you say it. And hey, I gave birth to it. There it is. You're welcome. My lies on average are better than the average truth you're going to find. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes I've actually read some of your bullshit, and I find myself astounded many times.
Yeah, I've consumed your horse shit.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we're all dude. This is what we do. Dude, this is great. Like, yeah, no. This
now that you've read it, it is.
Yeah. What'd you say?
And now that you've read it, it is.
Yes. No, but like making stuff like source. I made it up.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it? Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. That's something and people can't do that. Well,
I think, and like we were just saying now, like no one believes in anything. Everyone believes in everything. Everyone just kind of goes off their instincts. Like, what is truth? Not to get too metaphysical about it, but.
So is this like a long way of saying we're all going to start our own World Weekly News?
Yeah, why not? That was good.
Bat Boy, dude, let's bring that back.
Dude, yeah, that was great. I mean, that's probably one of the most famous photographs in history is Bat Boy. And everybody knows World Weekly News. Everybody does.
Dude, when I was a kid, like I didn't know what Photoshop was. And I would see that, like, because it's been around forever. I'd see that as a kid. I'm like, they can't fake that. Like it's a photo. Like what the fuck? Like obviously,
Bigfoot got me pregnant, and he gave me triplets.
it's like obviously the story's fake, but there is a Bat Boy. There is a Bigfoot.
Right. Well, those are the same guys that grow up to say, well, of course the moon footage is fake. They went to the moon in the secret black budget way.
Yeah, it's like they of course they went to the moon, but they just didn't film it. There's I don't know, like back to that, like I don't go too much into the moon stuff because there's like a century's worth of shit about the moon,
right?
But like I said, my father-in-law, he believes, like I sat down and watched like a bunch of Netflix or it was like Amazon Prime documentaries on the moon, and it was like, look, it looks like there's a medieval castle on the moon. What could that be about? He's like, well, there it is. I'm like, okay, sure. There's like knights and horses on the moon, but like, pull on that thread a bit more,
Well, yeah. If they're showing the documentary, I mean, if the conspiracy documentary is on Netflix or on Amazon Prime, you can bet your ass it's going to be, it's going to be well done, well produced, and also totally true.
Well, also, I learned that anyone can get a movie on Amazon Prime. I didn't know this. Like we could make a documentary tomorrow and make the application process isn't even that hard.
Really? Amazon's well, the bar, I've seen what's on Amazon. The bar is pretty low.
Yeah, it's not Netflix. It's hard to get on Netflix, hard to get on, all these other places, but
we might have Prime. There might have to be like some gay shit or some black shit or some gay black shit to get on Netflix.
Like, but also we could make a gay black documentary. What's going on with the gay blacks?
We could. I mean, and I'll bet you money Tariq Nasheed would be all over that. He would.
Here's a great thing about black people is that they just I don't know what it is about them. Like, if you look at the stats, like, there's more black trannies than any other type of race. But if you ask the average black person, there's no gay black people, or they just ignore it.
Right.
So it's like Tariq Nasheed, like, this guy is screaming at you that he's gay for white men. And they're just like that. There's blinders on. I don't know what it is, because if that was a white guy, white people would be calling him out. I've never seen black people call out Tariq Nasheed just for being just a gay guy.
Well, it's called the down low for a reason.
But also, he's just screaming it. He's like, all I talk about is being fucked by white guys.
Right, but he's doing it. But that's his cover. He's
Ayn Rand of the black people.
Yeah, he's doing the what was his name? Common Filth. Remember Common Filth?
Yeah.
He used to be like, look at this degenerate. He started white girls fuck dogs meme, right? And yeah, because he started looking at like all the nasty, and it's actually Jewish chicks, but whatever.
I never liked it. I don't even like people who like traffic in that right now. Like, I get it's like a meme that it's kind of like a funny thing, but I'm like, I don't want to I don't like validating that.
Yeah, I don't either. But what I'm saying is he's doing the whole like where Common Filth is like, look at this degeneracy. But he's actually, but Tariq is actually like, y'all look at this.
Just a little side thing there. There's this guy I saw on, you see these guys all the time where they're like hardcore white nationalists. And so, but they obsess so much about like BBC Mandingo interracial stuff that they end up with like a 5 gigabyte folder of like black interracial porn or something, right?
Right.
Like they're explaining to you, like, white man, you gotta take your women back. You don't want these like huge virile beasts. You hear them talk about it, and they're talking about it almost as if they're into the fetish themselves. They stare too hard.
Again, to bring it current, it's the MAGA crew talking about Hunter's dick.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a psyop in and of itself right there, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. Here's I think it's a good rule if as conspiracy minded people, let's draw a hard line about talking about penises every day.
Right.
That should be a good line. If you find yourself talking about penises a lot, you gotta walk away from the computer for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It's time to log off. It's the.
if you're not gonna like white women fuck dogs, any of that shit, it's like, you know what, like, you can't bring that up in a normal conversation. That's a weird thing to know a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
I could work flat earth into any conversation. I can't work in all this penis data. Mm-hmm. There's no home for that.
No,
not without coming off.
I'm thinking about how I can. I'm like, no. I mean, jokingly, like, you can bring it up once or twice, but once you start bringing it up a lot, you start becoming suspect. Most normal people will pick up on the fact that you're talking about penis a lot.
Most people, believe it or not,
Tariq Nasheed's whole career.
Consider this: most people don't talk about penis at all.
I work in construction. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, we talk about penis. So.
All right. Well, in my daily life, it doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Well, that's just because like you work. I know you're in America, so you got like weird measurements there. So you like measure things in penises.
Yeah, right. It's penises and bald eagles. Yes.
Y'all niggas will go through any length not to use the metric system.
Absolutely. Have you seen how they've been measuring asteroids, meteorites, or whatever the hell they're calling them nowadays?
No, I'm not sure if this is a penis related. Is this a real thing though?
Well, there's this one guy I think it's at the Jerusalem Post, and he's the guy who's like, an asteroid the size of 14 Cadillacs is about to pass by Earth. An asteroid the size of one was like emus, like 58 emus. The other one was 22 orcas. Like it's weird system of measurement.
An asteroid the size of 4 million pennies. Right. So you can't keep measuring things in cash.
Well, what about, actually, speaking of that, NASA is supposed to land on what's the number after trillion?
But I've never thought about that.
Whatever it is.
Google's like a big one.
Whatever it is, it's 10 of them. So it's 10, and then it's trillion, billion, million, thousand, hundred, right? So it's $. asteroid or whatever the fuck it is flying around in the place that's not real. That's one of those things when people are like, oh wow, NASA's going to land on this asteroid and it's going to take all this stuff and bring. That's exactly like they did in that one movie, and then they had to blow up the moon or something, right? And Bruce Willis cried.
Oh, yeah, Armageddon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was trying.
A bunch. It's like, yeah, it's worth $50 trillion. I'm like, yeah, but in resources is what they always say. Yeah, but it's like cotton. Like technically, it's like it's worth a lot of money, but we don't actually need that much cotton.
Right. Water.
Just a cotton asteroid.
Cotton, man. Could you imagine how many? How would you pick it?
Exactly. Well, I was trying to get black people interested in space travel.
Cotton asteroid.
That's the story no one tells you about slavery. It's like they were just really into cotton,
man. And that's one of the things I like to remind people when they bring up slavery is that every time I have to take like I had to take my son to the cotton hospital when he broke his arm, and when I walk into one of those cotton skyscrapers and drive down a cotton highway, reminds me of all the slaves. Yeah, it does. So
what a whimsical America that would be,
right? And comfy, soft, you know.
I like introducing, just made up facts about slavery just to trip people up. Like my favorite one is just like, it wasn't slavery. It's just they did such a bad job. They weren't paid for it. Or like, it was just cotton. It's like, we actually didn't need cotton. We were giving them something to do. And, and this is what we get for it.
Right. Man, when I first moved to Tennessee, I saw a bumper sticker on a beat up old little Datsun or Nissan pickup truck, a little old Nissan, and the rear window it had a little Confederate flag and said, "If I knew it was going to be like this, I'd have picked my own damn cotton."
Well, literally, like, and I know there's a bunch of like really knowledgeable America guys who in American history who could probably go on for an hour about the cotton trade and how like by the time slavery was on its way out, they weren't even really making money off of slaves. Like there was just this like strange free floating human capital, but it's like they didn't even need the fucking cotton. It was just this strange economic circumstance, But it's like, but that hits at the core of the foundation myth, which is like these people were essential. It's like if you rob them of that, it's like actually you weren't that essential,
right?
It's just we're people. It's like a hot potato. You became a hot potato for America.
And still are, actually.
All right, so just for people who got the Blood Sally bingo card at home, we did get to slavery jokes. We did get to rape. We did get to Radiohead.
We did good. Yeah, actually. Man, well, we are at the end of 2 hours, though, Dimes. That's pretty good timing.
All right, I hope people like this because I want
they will.
I want people like I think people need to look at the NWK, like look at the imagery, go to the sites that I had mentioned, try it, and like go down this rabbit hole. And because I think Aether, like we were talking before this, and you seemed like you kind of got into it. You started, you're like, okay, well, what the fuck is this? But by the end of it, it kind of drew you in, didn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. I kept taking left turns. I'm like, oh, well, that's new shit.
Like
every 5 minutes, it was like, new shit has come to light.
And that one site, awilkscrier.homestead.com, like by the end of it, it's overlapping text, and it's some guy talking about his automatic writing, and it's about like reptilian lizard stuff and like hollow earth. Like it's just a bunch of strange things.
Man. It is crazy. Now I'm going to look into it more. I thought I was just going to just scroll through a couple of links and whatever, and it was just me like, I was like, how are we going to get 2 hours out of this? And we did, and it's ridiculous. It is actually quite ridiculous.
I'm glad. Mm-hmm. And this was, again, like I said, I'm a massive fan of the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, yeah, thanks for coming on, dude.
Pleased as punch.
Yay. Yes, and one of these days I have to sit down with you and Judas. That'll be fun too.
Yeah, we're going to do that sometime soon. And we also have perhaps another episode that I really want to take some time and look into.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be awesome. Yes, that might have to be like more than one because there's so much stuff.
Yeah, like I know when we start pulling on that thread, it's going to lead down some strange directions.
It's very
just
large.
From what I've seen so far.
It's a very large sweater. It's one rebel. Yeah. All right, that wasn't Radiohead.
That was Weezer. Another great band.
Another great band, yeah. Great band from Canada.
In a lot of ways, Weezer is the American Radiohead. I've always said that.
Yeah, actually, I can see that. That makes sense. Yeah.
You know what's just before we go, annoyingly, Radiohead had OK Computer, and Weezer came out with an album called OK Human, which I assume was based off of that.
Yeah, actually, no, I think about it has to be. Yeah. All right. Well, real quick, Dimes, tell everybody that listens to the Paranormies where they can listen to you guys.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So go to bloodsatellite.ca. That's our main website. You can find full episodes of our show. You can find links to clips. I'm on Twitter at Legally Ironic. I just got my Twitter back. So you can pretty much find everything from bloodsatellite.ca. So just go there and that'll lead you to our Telegram and everywhere else.
Nice. Yes. Everybody do that now. This is a threat.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man. And we're going to get out of here. There will be a creepypasta at the end of this. Aether, thanks for
I was also going to shill for myself.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, dude, you have all kinds of shit.
No, I was say you can just find pretty much everything I do on at Flesh Canoe. That's just Flesh Canoe is one word.
All right.
Oh, so, you're. I had no idea you were Flesh Canoe.
Yeah, I do like
cool.
music. I do like content and all that shit.
Oh shit! I gotta talk to you about some other stuff, man. I love your work. I'm so retarded. I had no idea. Sorry, I know we're supposed to leave, but I'm just saying this guy's stuff is great.
Oh no, it is. No, chill his stuff. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, yes, we are going to listen to a creepypasta, and we're going to get out of here, and we'll see you Tuesday night and the Live Nationalist Inquirer over on Pill, D Live, and Odyssey. All right. Later. Somebody say it.
Time travel makes you gay.
Right. Do not let the rapists win. Listen and love Blood Satellite.